Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Misha Safran, and I am a transformational love and laugh coach. And I'm excited to do episode number 5 for my podcast, Woohoo! Joy with the Joy Healer, Cathy Weiss. And so this is the Authentic and Wholehearted Joy Podbean channel. Again, Misha Safran, and it's just a little joy to pass around the world. And I'm excited to introduce to you Cathy Weiss. But first, I'm going to say hello. Hey, Cathy.
Hey, Misha. Thanks so much for having me with you today.
I'm really glad that you're here. And I was so excited when my friend Phoebe was having her Holistic Healers Conference. And I saw that your title, your label was the Joy Healer. So I'm looking forward to having you tell us more about that. But I'm going to read everybody your bio because it is pretty cool. I feel it's super important for all of us to kind of expose ourselves and let people know that, you know, we have other parts of our life that have kind of gotten us where we are today. So just let everybody know that Cathy Weiss, known as the Joy Healer, is a naturally gifted intuitive clairvoyant and source energy channel. She gives purpose-seeking people the tools they need to find deep fulfillment and lasting freedom at the level of their soul, which is joy. I love that. The results of her intuitive energy readings include feeling deeply reassured and validated, coupled with a strong sense of direction on how to move forward in life. Cathy holds a master's degree in education. Actually almost got a master's degree in education, but the Oregon universities got struck with the ballot measure that ended up cutting money from education. So I got a master's degree in French literature, which brought me a lot of joy, actually.
Sure.
And she is also an experienced certified yoga instructor. Some of Cathy's favorite joys include being in the warm sunshine, holding a koala in her arms, going to Disneyland, and big fat hugs. Are those big fat hugs 20 seconds or longer?
Oh, as often as they can be, but right now, because we're sheltering at home, they're a little, I'm hugging my dog and my cats a whole lot right now.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been really challenging not to get those hugs. I actually have a hug meditation that I do. And
Oh, brilliant.
in my authentic joy parties and in the class that I'm teaching right now, Creating, Embracing, and Maintaining Joy for lesbian, queer, and bisexual women, I teach them a hug meditation with a body scan, which has been extremely helpful for everyone to kind of get grounded and in touch with the self-love. It's been really amazing. So you're going to all get to know Cathy Weiss here today on the topic of joy, but if you want to get to know her more, you can go to her website at thejoyhealer.com. And so I'm going to get started in just a moment, but Cathy, I'd love for you to say hello to our audience and our viewers on Facebook, and anything you want to add to that bio or anything you want to say right now before I dig into the questions.
Oh gosh, hey, it's so great to be here. And like right as an intuitive, I can feel people's energy. And then I interpret that through either images in my mind, which is called clairvoyance, or I hear words and phrases, which is called clairaudience. And right away, I could hear what's the heck with joy? Isn't that like sort of goofy and over the top? Or I think that a lot of us don't really know what joy viscerally feels like in our physical body. And so a lot of people strive for happiness rather than joy, but joy is its own vibrational frequency above happiness, and it's really our birthright. It's the place that we came from. And there, in my understanding of the world and the information I've been given from source and my guides, is that there are two types of joy. There is abiding joy and there is ecstatic joy. And abiding joy is sort of like what we can feel on a day-to-day basis. It feels warm. It feels like almost like a little giggle is going to bubble up from inside. Your heart feels expansive. And it comes from just looking around and being able to see, like, I'm alive. My life is good. I learn from my decisions when they don't go right. I make pretty good decisions most of the, like all of that kind of good stuff where you can see that you've surrounded yourself with an amazing life. Ecstatic joy is the things that are like so awesome, but we can't do them all the time. It's like, skydiving or catching an awesome wave if you like to surf, or, for me, I love Disneyland. It's like going on the roller coasters. It's those big high moments, but we don't hang out there all the time.
And for me, it was having my children, but
Yes.
three times was enough.
Right, it's enough. And I hear that from a lot of mothers that like birthing a child is like a huge ecstatic joy moment.
Yeah.
And so those moments sort of propel us forward
Right.
and give us something to yearn for as we sit in a daily place of that more abiding joy.
Wouldn't you say that the abiding joy too, though, is not necessarily that there's a giggle? I mean, it can be that place where a giggle is kind of percolating, but
Hmm.
also just a sense of contentment and calm and
Yeah.
peacefulness and centeredness, like really
Yeah.
just feeling really peaceful and like,
Yes.
I mean, I think is a little bit different than content, but being in the moment, feeling
Hmm.
the moment, whether that brings a little giggle up to the surface or if it's just, things are really nice right now.
Yeah. And it feels really safe and it feels
Yeah,
really secure.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Really great interpretation and distinguishing between the two. So I'm sure our people watching and the audience listening and Podbean will appreciate those. So thank you. That was
Yeah.
great. So for you, I guess I would say, you mentioned it a little bit, but right now, in this very moment, when I say the word joy, what does that evoke for you?
The first thing I got was an image of a sunshine.
Mm.
Like just,
Because that's my nickname.
oh, hey, sunshine. Well, I am an intuitive and a clairvoyant, so there you go.
That's great. Love
So
it.
definitely it emanates from within you as well. But it's just that for me, it's warmth and it's light. And
Mhm.
so I think that's why I see that image of a sun is because that's what it is. It's the color yellow. It's bright.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
That's beautiful. And there are a couple people in our Podbean channel room right now. And if you want to post a message and let us know what joy means to you, what the word joy evokes for you, we'd love to hear. Hi, glad you're saying hello. So did you grow up, Cathy, with any concept of joy? Or was
No.
that okay? So if you would tell me
Hard
maybe how
no.
you involve a hard no, yes. So if you can maybe kind of guide me through, like, you don't have to tell me your whole history and your
Yeah.
whole upbringing, but being from a growing up where there wasn't a huge concept of joy, how did you get there?
Yeah, such a great question. I like to start my story somewhere around the age of 25, where I just knew I was not a happy person. I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I'm very petite. I'm not even 5 feet tall. So I was always just like really uncomfortable about myself. I realized that I had been raised codependent, and so I didn't have healthy relationships with my family growing up. And so there was a lot of sadness and anger in me. And I discovered yoga.
Mm.
And yoga, for me at age 25, was the first time I ever felt like a moment, just a brief moment of actual comfort in my own skin.
Was that
And,
scary? Was it scary to
mm,
feel that comfort, or was it really welcoming? I mean, did you feel like, oh, what is this?
it felt unfamiliar, but welcome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I just knew I had to keep going back and doing it. And I had tried yoga with a friend, and I was like, yes, this is the thing. And she wasn't into it, and it became my thing. And so I became really an avid yoga practitioner. And it took time for me to just get to the place where it wasn't just mere moments of comfort in my own skin, but like actually like longer periods of time. I would say probably a couple years before I was really at a place where I could be like, I'm okay that I'm petite. I don't like I can rock myself in the world. Um, but it's still really been an ongoing journey of revealing the layers and healing the pain and the sadness and anger that I grew up in, um, and learning how to trust my own instinct and intuition
Mhm.
and to follow that, and to be all of the lessons of yoga. I've done 200-hour yoga teacher training. I've done 300-hour yoga teacher training. I've been teaching yoga for a long time. And all of the wisdom and the philosophy has taught me how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations,
Mhm. Mhm.
to see the good in things that other people might perceive as a big pile of crap. Right? And how to really like extract the gold out of life
Mhm.
to the point where now most of the time, even when things are uncomfortable or scary or I don't know what's going to happen, I
Mhm.
can still find a reason to have joy.
Mm.
But it's
I
been a
love that.
practice. Yeah, I mean, it's like Like
You know,
anything else, there's been swings and misses
right. But
for
what I
sure.
love especially is that while it felt unfamiliar, you knew you had to have more of it.
Yeah.
And so you didn't just give up saying, oh my gosh, what is this foreign thing, with this feeling, but, oh, this feels really good. And I just want to mention somebody's just put a comment in that they're listening on their way home from work today. And they said, great vibes. So clearly
Aw.
topic that I think is touching people's heart, with everything that's going on with the pandemic. And
Mhm.
it sometimes can be really hard to stay in joy. And I think it's one
Yes.
of the things I keep letting people know, the people I work with, is it's okay that these coexist.
Yeah.
The challenges and the pain and the hardship and the grief, and then the joy and the acceptance and moving through it together, even though we might be separate, that these feelings coexist.
Mhm.
And so it sounds like you went from a place of where joy didn't really exist for you to discovering it, and now being in a place where you're familiar with all of it, so you can balance them so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the great lessons that helps me with that, I actually learned a couple of years ago from Rob Bell, who is a great spiritual teacher. And he said, the heart can hold more than one thing. And
Yes,
I feel like that was like my biggest breakthrough to
totally.
really being able to sit in joy more often than not, because it was almost like, well, if I'm sad or anxious or worried or upset, then that's all I can be. And that was like this huge revelation. Oh wait, I can have those feelings and I can have joy at
Yeah,
the same time. And that actually helps me move those feelings through much quicker and more easily. So I'm not someone who you know, oh, happy sunshine 24 hours a day, especially with everything that's going on with the pandemic. I mean, I've had my moments of crying and heartbreak and frustration and
yeah.
all of that, but it's like giving myself permission to feel it and move it through so I can return.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. I have a friend who taught me not too long ago, it doesn't have to be either or,
Hmm.
and I think that goes with a lot of things. I actually wrote a song not too long ago, and it talks about life and death intertwined. I mean, there's so many things. You have light, you have darkness, you have life and death, you have pain, and you have joy, and they can absolutely coexist. And it's just about how to manage them as they arise, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
clearly we want to have joy more often, but things happen, and
Yeah.
and so it's about working with it and acknowledging it. I do a lot with my clients about actually talking to the feelings as they come in,
Hmm.
to acknowledge the feelings, to be present in the feelings. And I want to read this comment. Thank you so much. I wish I knew your first name. I would address you, but Area 81 has said, I grew up with my own troubles, and I grew up mostly happy, but without joy. When I discovered things that gave me joy is when I was truly and deeply most fulfilled and happy. And that's
Yes.
Joel. Thank you, Joel, for telling us
Hey,
your name.
Joel.
So what a treat to have that comment, Joel. Thank you. Yeah, it's sometimes we can be happy without joy, and I think it is an internal. He said you're welcome, or they said you're welcome. I don't know what your
Right.
pronouns are.
Right.
But the idea that we can happy and joy are different.
Yes.
So taking what Joel just said, I would love to. We talked about it a little bit when you started. If you could just kind of give a little example of a lifetime experience, something in your childhood memories and your adult memories of a happy moment, and then a joyous moment.
Mm,
And maybe
yeah,
if you can think
definitely.
about it.
I'm like scrolling through the files, like where is that? I wanted to just say back to Joel's comment real quick so
Yeah.
I don't lose it when he said it's like, and that's when I felt fulfillment.
Yes.
Fulfillment, like deep fulfillment at the level of your soul is what joy is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when I look back at like where did I find deep fulfillment versus happiness?
Hmm.
Deep fulfillment for me at this moment of my life is when I can be really present and let life flow through me and know that I've done everything that I can to trust and follow my intuition and that I'm not attached to the results.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Yes.
And it's
Yes.
not an easy place for me to be. I'm someone who's always been very attached to, like go to school, get good grades, get the good, like do the thing to get the result. And I'm actually in a process right now. Can it's like a little sneak peek sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
a
Sure.
process?
And Joel just said that's great. So
Oh,
just let you
woohoo. Um,
know.
I'm working with a partner and we're making a deck of oracle cards for entrepreneurs.
Oh, cool.
And And we've been working on it for a little while, and we're building up to creating a crowdfunding campaign to like actually bring the physical product into the world. And the whole time I've been like so into it. And so I download the messages that go into the guidebook. And I honestly, as much as I'm into it and I love it, I don't care if one person buys it or 10 million people buy it. Like I'm
Beautiful.
just so that feels really fulfilling to me because I know I'm doing all the things without deep attachment.
Yes.
That's so fulfilling.
Yes.
Happiness is like when I get to have a cheat day and eat ice cream. You know what I mean? Like that makes me super happy, but I'm not going to say that it provides that feeling of fulfillment and joy. Although ice cream and me, I mean, it could.
Yeah, but if you do it 24 hours a day, that is going to quickly disappear and be
Oh
like
yeah.
filled with disappointment and frustration and self-loathing.
Yeah, all the
Stomach
things,
aches.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, all those things.
and I'm also a 5'1", so you being a little under 5 foot, if we were to eat ice cream 24 hours a day, we would look like little Oompa Loompas.
Oompa Loompa, 100%, 100% like
Joyful
that.
Oompa Loompas, but maybe not joyful Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, yeah. So happiness is a little bit more of that like temporary, fleeting sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um, and joy just is much more lasting, and it just feels more about the way I'm being in the world
yeah,
rather than how I'm being rewarded temporarily.
yeah. All right, I'm going to take us to our next question.
Okay.
So, do you feel called to create joy for yourself and for others, or do you feel that joy finds you?
Mm, mm. I feel compelled to manage my own personal energy and vibration to vibrate at the frequency of joy
Mhm.
and allow that to emanate out into the world and affect the world in however it will. So I take responsibility for my joy and my energy because that's the only thing I can take responsibility for. I don't know how it will land on other people, and I can't be responsible for their reactions or responses. I can only take responsibility for my own joy and knowing what brings me joy and doing it as much as I can, as often as I can.
Yes, and that's so. This question is incredibly intentional,
Yeah.
because I spent a lot. You mentioned the word earlier, codependency, right?
Mhm.
And that's something that I used to battle with intensely. I'm much better with it now, but I finally had to realize, and it also kind of goes back a little bit to what you were saying earlier about expectations of the outcome. Expectations breed resentments. And so if
Mhm.
I'm trying to force joy on other people, if I'm trying to make people joyful, then it's not going to happen. And then what's going to happen is it's going to drain my energy, and I'm
Mhm.
going to lose my joyfulness. So the idea of like putting our own oxygen mask first, embracing that vibration, embracing what is right for us, it will emanate, it will get out there. And I think that one of the things that I'm learning with some of my clients is there's been a lot of trauma associated with joy. So I can't make them do anything. I can't say, do this for 10 days. But what I can do is ask them, how are you feeling right now? And how can we get that plus one?
Yeah.
And ask them if they're willing. And if they're not willing, most of my clients, when they come to me, they're willing.
Yeah.
But if somebody's not willing, it's just like the alcohol and drug and other programs, somebody has to be willing to accept joy into their life. But it
Mhm.
does take a process, right? But we cannot, as healers, be responsible for other people's joy. We can only teach about it, talk about it, feel it ourselves. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, and everything, all of that, yes. And then for me as an intuitive, one of the things that I provide for my clients is I get um, like real specific action steps or things that they can do in the world
Absolutely.
that like are the breadcrumbs to their joy. But then again, I can't make them do those things. It's up to them to decide to follow the wisdom or guidance or not. But that's one of my gifts, is that I can just see like, oh, if she did A, B, and C in that order, she would be so much closer to her joy and her soul's truth and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
And so I give that good stuff to my clients, and then I have to just sit back and watch and see what they do, and then whatever they do, then we go from there and take the next step.
Yeah. It's amazing when people realize well, I guess I should speak specifically to myself and then also to the women that I'm working with right now, is that if you don't, some people think I got to do this for an hour every day, but actually 5 minutes is an incredible practice. And then you're not tricking your brain into doing it too long, and then you don't touch it for 2 weeks. So I love what you said about the practical pieces. You know, I like you, I give little tiny assignments, try this out for a little while. And it's amazing what results they're finding. And I've noticed their shift. It's been really beautiful. And in that place, and I feel fulfilled because I'm not responsible for their feelings, but I'm helping guide them. Sounds like you do the exact same thing.
Yeah, totally. And then when I see somebody like hit a big milestone that I know we've been like creeping up towards for a while, I just feel like,
Yay!
oh, such a win, because it's like we brought one more soul's purpose into the world, and that elevates, like, I feel like when we heal and elevate our own vibration, it changes the world, like, because it's
Absolutely.
all connected in some way. Yeah, and so it just feels like, oh, so good.
I love it. And I know I kind of skipped over. I meant to say that is so exciting about your Oracle cards.
Oh, thank
That is
you.
so neat. I can't,
Yeah.
will people be able to see that on your website?
Yeah, when it's
Right.
ready.
Okay. So
We're
that,
still a little bit behind the scenes right
okay.
now, but when
Oh,
it is ready for, the ta-da,
yeah.
absolutely.
So our viewers on Facebook and our listeners on Podbean just got a sneak peek of something coming up the pipeline.
Yeah,
That's very exciting. Thanks, Cathy.
sure.
So one more question. Does joy look differently for you as an individual? Well, actually, I guess, I don't know if you want to answer this. Are you in an intimate relationship right now?
I am,
Okay,
yes.
so then I can ask you this. All right.
Yeah.
Does joy look differently for you as an individual than it does with you and your intimate partner? Like as a couple, is it different?
Yeah.
Can you explain what joy looks like for you individually and what joy may look like for you as a couple?
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of, yeah, I'm like, my brain went in like 3 different directions at once. I'm like, which
Well, if
thread
you
are we
have
going to
three,
follow?
we have three partners. No, I'm just kidding.
No, happily married for 19, what year is it? 2020. So we met 20 years ago, and we've been married for 19.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, One thing
I
I
heard
knew,
3 different directions, and I thought, hey,
right?
why
Hey,
not?
you never know.
Polyamory,
Right?
chaperones.
Yeah. No. So one thing that I knew really early on is that it's like self, relationship, career, friend, you know what I mean? So it's self first, relationship second. And each human has their own soul purpose and soul journey, and like dharma, like what their soul's supposed to be doing in the world. And mm, we have very different dharmas and soul purposes. And my role as his wife is to support him and encourage him to follow his dharma, because that's his joy
Mhm,
and his fulfillment, and to sit back and watch him learn some life lessons. And sometimes that's like, ouch, sorry you had to learn that, there's nothing I could do.
mhm,
And then he's doing the same for me.
mhm,
So I feel like what it is that we support each other's joy separately, and then we have some things that are like shared joys,
mhm.
absolutely, because I ain't going to Disneyland by myself, you know what I mean? Going together and doing that together. So we do have some things, and then there's sort of, it's hard to explain to people, but in such a long-term intimate relationship, there's like a shared language, and a shared way of being that's different from the way you are with other people, and that is very fulfilling in and of itself. And it's so hard to articulate, because I'm like, if I used like one of our code words to you, you'd be like, why? What does that mean? Why is that awesome? Why does that make you smile or whatever? So there is a joy in the effort of sustaining a relationship for 20 years that's really fulfilling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
very
you.
exciting.
So that, I think that's why it's the 3 threads, right? Because there's my joy
Mhm.
and my life path, and his joy and his life path, and then our shared joy kind of in the middle
Right.
between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll be delighted to know that that's what the 3 was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting.
I'm sure he
Um,
already knows, but
Totally does. But about a year ago, I was doing the B School program to help me kind of expand my business into the world a little bit.
Mhm.
And one of the like tasks in there was to ask people what they perceive your strengths are. And so I sent him the email and I thought, oh my God, he's so busy with his own work. I don't think he's going to respond to that. And he was one of the first people who came back to me and he said, your greatest strength is your ability to find joy no matter what.
Right.
And that was like unprompted. And that was before I was calling myself the joy healer. So
Mm.
there you
Wow.
go.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And I was delighted to see that your title was the Joy Healer. And you know, I've played so many times with different titles, and I want to spread love and laughter. You know, so there's a
Yeah.
way in which that they align so beautifully, and yet we're so different. And you know, there are people that are gonna hopefully reach out to you. And again, her Cathy's website is thejoyhealer.com. And so I know that one of the people that was online said that they subscribed to my channel,
Oh, great.
and said thank you both for sharing a little positivity with him today. So that was Joel, and we're glad. I sent a message before he had to hang up, but it's been really wonderful sharing this topic with you. And I absolutely think that there's more to spread around the world, especially in these times. And as we said earlier, we are not responsible for anybody else's feelings and direction that they take, but we can at least give some guidance and some input, and joyfully hold people's hands a little bit if they need it. But yeah, thank you. Is there anything else you would like to say, to close with, to offer to the viewers or listeners?
Hey, if they're interested over there on my website right now, they can get a free clairvoyant message from me. And it's a personalized video that lands right in their inbox. So if they're kind of curious about what I do, it's a great way to like dip their toes in. So they can find that over there.
That's awesome. Great. Terrific. Well, thank you so much, Cathy. And I just want to thank my viewers and listeners for supporting me on this journey of passing a little joy around the world. Again, I'm Misha Safran. I've been interviewing Cathy Weiss, A Little Joy to Pass Around the World, Authentic and Wholehearted Joy. I'm also the founder of the Authentic and Wholehearted Facebook group for women, and this podcast. And I also am offering a free gift of 3 secrets to living joyfully, which I will put in the description of this podcast as well as the video. So looking forward to the next episode. And Cathy, I wish you the best with all your endeavors, and hopefully we can connect again soon. Thank you.
Thanks.